Hello everyone. I hope you guys are doing good today. In our last video, we have already talked about why we should not use Docker. But there are certain alternative solutions are there. So we have to check out those solutions. So if you have not watched that particular video, I will link it here. You can go ahead, watch that video and come back to here. So what are all the issues that we have raised on our last video? So just we can go ahead and recap. So we have talked about security concerns, complexity, overhead, versioning, licensing, vendor lock-in, resource limitations, compatibility, debugging, and learning curve. So on these particular points, I have searched it. What is an alternative solutions? So those things that we are going to discuss here now. Can go ahead with security concerns. So what we have raised with the security concerns, Docker can potentially pose security risk because of the way it's designed to share the host kernel with the container. Just it is running on top of it. So what's the alternative solution? Consider using a containerization technology that provides a better security and isolation. Say, for example, Kata container or gVisor. So it's completely uncompromised with the security. What's the complexity? Okay, the complexity. Docker can be complex to set up and maintain, especially for large, more complex applications. So how you can overcome with this one? Simplify the containerization by using a tools that automate the process, such as Kubernetes, Docker Swarm, which simplifies the management of containerized application. Overhead. Docker containers can come with additional overhead, which can negatively impact the application performance. So how you have to overcome? Use lightweight containerization technology that have a minimal overhead, such as LDX, runC, and all those things. Versioning. So multiple versions of Docker images can be challenging. As the container image is updated and pushed to a registry, it can create a conflict and inconsistency in the environment, it making it difficult and maintain the consistency and predictability. So how to overcome this particular issue? Implementing a robust version control system that tracks the changes to the container images and ensures the consistency across the environment. Use tools such as Git, Docker Hub, and Nexus. Licensing. Okay, licensing. Docker is somewhat convoluted with a licensing model that can be difficult to understand and manage. Um, so, how you have to come up with this one? It's considered using an open source containerization technology such as Kubernetes, LXC, which have a fewer licensing restrictions. Vendor lock-in. Okay, what's the vendor login? Docker is a proprietary technology that is controlled by Docker Inc. This can create a vendor lock-in and limit the options available to the users who wants to use an alternative containerization technology. Fine. How this can get fixed? Okay, use open source containerization technology that are controlled by a single vendor, such as Kubernetes or LXC. So this is the same answer of the previous one. Resource limitations. Docker containers can be limited to in terms of the resource they can access, which can make it difficult to run applications that are required a large number of memory and processing power. I think there is an optimal solution as well here. We have to use the Kubernetes Docker Swarm that can allocate the resource dynamically to a container based on their need. Okay, fine. Let's move on to the compatibility. What and how it is. Okay, what we have been discussed for the compatibility. Docker may not be compatible with all applications and environment. For example, some legacy applications may not be compatible with the Docker. It required a significant modification on the code to run on a containerized environment. So how this can get fixed? Access the compatibility of the application with containerization technology before choosing a technology. Alternative is consider using a hybrid approach where only certain parts of application can containerized. So you can't containerize entire monolithic app. Debugging. Okay, debugging. So debugging a Docker container can be a challenge, specifically in issues arise in multiple containers in a distributed environment. Okay, fine. We have to use the tools such as Docker Swarm, uh, uh, Kubernetes that provides a centralized logging and monitoring environment. Make it easier to debug an issue across multiple containers. On top of that, you can use lot of open source tools like ELK Stack, basically Kibana, and some other the log monitoring tools such as Splunk, and all those things you can leverage it. Okay, the last part is about the learning curve. So you have to learn all new technologies unless you can't even until you can't even survive it. So what we have talked about it, there is a steep learning curve is associated with the Docker, especially for users who are new to the containerization and the DevOps. Yes, we have to invest in a lot of time in the training, education to help developers and operation staff understand the containerization technology and best for the best practice. Use online course, workshop, conference to improve their knowledge and skills. So that's all I have. I think I hope I might have covered all the things. We'll see you on the next video, and please do subscribe my channel. Thank you so much.